meals are in. Finally getting some rain. Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another Sunday reset. We are going to be making some delicious meals and restocking the freezer for the week ahead. If you're new here, my name is Nicholsen. I love to share all things homemaking, and I'd love it if you would subscribe. And if you're returning, it is so great to see you. Okay guys, let's jump into this beautiful day of homemaking. Okay guys, I've got my recipes for the week ready to go and my list. A bunch of projects going on today, but you can see the freezer. I've got plenty of this stuff in here already. Everything we're looking at for this week's meal prep, and here's everything I have. I need to get some more of some of this stuff. We have leeks, garlic, onions, chicken, carrots, celery. I need more than that, and then some green onions. I have some of this. We're gonna probably end up making a portobello mushroom soup. This is what we're having for dinner tonight, so we're gonna let that rest. We've got the potatoes for the corn soup, and this is gonna be delicious. I'm very excited about this. We're gonna figure that out. So we have that, we have this. I'm gonna go grocery shopping, and then we'll get cooking. For the week ahead, I wanted to make a couple different recipes ahead of time, and then I'm going to be prepping a bunch of ingredients that I'll need as well. The first two things I wanted to do is get a bunch of chicken boiling that I'm going to put in about 3 different recipes, and I wanted to start our Instant Pot carnitas. We're going to be doing carnitas, and then I'm going to be doing a barbecued pulled pork. Each of those need 50 minutes in the Instant Pot. So what I'm going to do to get started is make the dry rub that'll go on top, and then I'll show you how we make that. I prefer to have carnitas done in the Instant Pot, but you can make it either way. I'm going to go ahead and remove the tie on these, and then I'm going to remove that fat on there. I just don't like that gristly part. So instead of having to cut it off after it's cooked, it's much easier to remove it now. So we're going to remove that. I'm going to get these split in half. So I've got about 3 pounds for the carnitas and 3 pounds for the shredded pork. This is a pork roast, and these turn out perfect and so delicious. This week, instead of doing a meal plan, since I'm kind of all over the place with work and whatnot, I decided to just link down below all the recipes I cooked today. We're going to be making some carnitas pulled pork. We're going to be making some corn chowder. I also decided to make a chicken pot pie that we're going to put in the freezer. I'm going to be topping with some delicious biscuits, and I'm going to be making some ricotta stuffed shells. So we're going to make all of that today, plus a couple lunch ideas. Once you get your pork chopped up, you're going to go ahead and add your seasoning, mix that up nice and well, and then we are going to be adding that over to the Instant Pot. I'm going to add some orange juice, and I just find this to be a very simple way to do this. I'm going to add onions and garlic. I just think it gives extra flavor, and because I've already pre-prepped everything for the month, I love that I don't have to waste a whole lot of time re-prepping things. So you're going to go ahead and put this on a simmer, and then let it cook for about, I don't know, 5 minutes until the onions and everything are fragrant, and then we're going to seal it up and cook it on high pressure for 50 minutes. Now that I have the carnitas started, I am going to be boiling the chicken. We're going to be separating this with shredded chicken and then diced up chicken. They're going to go in multiple different recipes. It's just a reminder that I wash my hands about 100 times when I'm doing a daily prep like this, as well as just constantly keeping my surfaces clean. I don't always show it because I think it's rather boring to watch somebody wash their hands, but not to worry. Definitely wash your hands while you're prepping all of this raw meat and stuff. So the next thing I want to do is make some ground beef taco mix. This is going to go into a taco salad that we'll have for lunches, and I just want to have that kind of ready to go. I found that since going back to work, I definitely need grab and go delicious things to eat that are healthy. So I'm going to go back to meal prepping for lunches for only a couple days out of the week. I don't go in every day, so I don't need them every day, but I definitely want to be able to have some grab and go delicious things this week. I thought it'd be great to have the corn chowder, and I thought it'd be great to have a taco salad. I also did a Greek salad, but I read that the cucumbers don't hold for very long, so I decided to wait and prep that a little closer to midweek and have that towards like Wednesday, Thursday. Since we have our carnitas going, I wanted to make sure that our pulled pork has enough time to kind of marinate in a nice dry rub. I added some really delicious ingredients to the dry rub, like I always use a brown sugar, but then I added some cayenne pepper and some cumin and some dry mustard. I will put the link down below for the recipe for this dry rub, but it's so good, but it does best when it has about an hour to kind of sit with that dry rub. So while that's sitting, I'm going to go ahead and continue to work on all the things we have to do today, one of which is cleaning all of our fruits and vegetables. I like to clean the sink before I go ahead and soak that in vinegar. So we're just going to give this a nice clean, and then I am going to add in all the vegetables that we'll be processing today, chopping up, getting in the freezer and or in a dish. And then I also have things like fruit and whatnot that I just really want to get clean for the week ahead. I always find that this is a much easier way. I used to put them in strainers, but now I just end up filling up the sink and just make sure that it's nice and clean and sanitized, and it acts as kind of a much larger vessel to cleaning things. So right now we have our carnitas in the Instant Pot. I am cooking the taco salad mix. I am also boiling about 4 to 5 pounds of chicken breasts, and we have our marinade going. So now it's time to clean all our vegetables and get those chopped up. We're going to be doing that throughout the day, so I don't just take time to do that. It's usually in between something kind of on a simmer, boiling, coming to a boil. I will slowly start to process each and every one of these vegetables. I would like to let the vegetables soak for a good 20 minutes, so I'm going to leave them here while we continue to get everything cooked we're going to need to make our recipes. Our taco meat looks delicious. It's ready to come off the stove, and it's time to get started on the corn. So I'm going to be using the corn both in our taco salad lunch dish as well as our corn chowder, which corn chowder is one of my favorite things. Our kids don't it kind of just depends, but typically corn chowder is the only type of chowder that they will eat. So I'm not even going to mess with it. I only want to make things I know the kids are going to eat, even though sometimes I'll go off script for my husband and I to have something delicious and a little more adult. This recipe is amazing. You will absolutely love it. It's linked down below. And I'm going to cut this up. We're going to cook this 2 different ways. One, I'm just going to sear up in the pan and then set it aside. The other, we're going to put into the soup. I don't need to clean out the pan since I know that all of the corn that's going into the taco salad dish is going to be seasoned the same, so I'm just going to add that right in. So while that's cooking and our chicken is still coming to a boil, I'm going to start processing all the potatoes. We're just going to chop these up into little dice pieces that are going to go into that corn chowder soup. Tell us in the comments down below, how have you guys been? How was your month of January? It's so exciting to be in a new month. It's February, the month of love. I am so excited to share some Valentine's Day videos with you guys. But tell us in the comments down below, how are you doing? Now that I have everything prepped for our corn chowder, I'm going to get all the vegetables sauteed. I'm going to be adding some green onions, some celery. We're going to be adding some diced bell peppers, all of which we prepped at the beginning of January. So I had everything I needed. I was so excited that it's now February and I still have a little bit left of all of the things I prepped for the month. This is definitely going to be something I do every single month from now on because it really does cut down on time to prep and process everything ahead of time and put it in the freezer. The only thing I learned is I will not be freezing broccoli. For whatever reason, I really don't like the taste of broccoli when it's been frozen and then cooked. So in 1 pot of water, I'm going to be boiling all of our Yukon Gold potatoes that have been peeled and diced. And then in the pan here, I have our vegetables. I also added some onions and garlic to that. We're just going to saute that down. I'm going to process some onions and get them in the freezer. I also found a bunch of shallots. I don't want them to go bad, so we're going to chop those up. I've got some cilantro, cherry tomatoes. I just need to dice these in half for 2 different recipes. Cucumber for our Greek salad. I'm gonna process a bunch of celery and bell pepper, and I do need these tomatoes. We've got potatoes cooking. This is the base. It's gonna go into our corn chowder. I've got everything we're gonna kind of need to get all of these recipes buttoned up. 12 more minutes on our carnitas, and our shredded pork is looking great. And then in here we've got all our chicken breasts for all the recipes. And while that's all going, I also did put some shells in a pot, so we'll have that at the end of this entire day of cooking. I have to say, this probably took me about 4 hours. The kids watched 2 movies during the course of the time I was here because it was pouring rain outside, and it was very nice when I got home from the grocery store. They helped me put everything away. So there's certain things in videos that I've done in the past that I don't actually do because our children are getting older and they are just more helpful because they're able and capable to do those things. So like, I didn't do a restock this Sunday because I did restock the refrigerator and the pantry, but the kids ended up putting everything away, which was really, really lovely. So for this Sunday's meal prep, all I really am focused on is getting meals in the freezer that are grab and go ready, that are at least, 5 to 15, 20 minutes max to cook. And I have found over the month of January, this is new for me, food and meal prepping is kind of new for me. I have found how incredibly great it is to have all of this done. The nights to be with the kids and the more time that we have as a family has been measurable. Like, it has been a difference for all of us. I'm not as stressed when I come home. My husband and I like to go for walks after work and just kind of take that time to be alone and just talk about our week and our day and everything. And typically I always tell him, like, I don't know if I can go on a walk. I need to start dinner. This recipe takes an hour and 15 minutes. So it kind of just depends on, it's one of the reasons I always do my meal planning, is because it will tell me when I need to start dinner. So if it's an hour and 45 minutes to make a meal, and a lot of times that's just oven time, or it's not like active cooking time, I need to start much earlier. So this has been very important for me, and those have been great ways to kind of spend 4 hours today versus multiple hours during the week to get all of these meals prepped and ready. I also have been really happy meal prepping a large amount of ingredients we use, things like a mirepoix, so onions, carrots, celery, things like that. I have really enjoyed having those grab and go ready in the freezer. That has been a major game changer for me, especially as I'm making lots of meals. I definitely will continue to keep freezer meals like lasagnas and pastas and all kinds of things I can just throw into the oven ready to go. Those have been amazing, and it really does cut down on time. So if you're not a prepper, but you're busy, I highly recommend checking those out. So now that our potatoes are done, I'm going to start to make our corn chowder. Like I said, in between this cooking process, I am prepping for the month of February. So we're going to be adding the corn. I'm going to be adding some chicken stock. I also added a little bit of butter, and then I always love to add thyme and or sage to my soups. It just makes it taste so good. So while that is coming to a boil, we will process all of these bell peppers. I had no idea how much our family loved bell peppers until the month of January, because I had to pre-prep. I had pre-prepped for the entire month and ended up having to restock my bell peppers twice. So I got 3 times as much, and we will prep that. I'm going to add some of this to the taco salad that I'm making. It's really like a bean salad, but I just wanted that to be grab and go ready in case I wasn't able to be somewhere where there is a microwave, because I do use Factor meals for lunch. My husband and I both really love them. But if I'm somewhere where there isn't a microwave, I like to have something quick and easy. So I'm making this bean salad, which is super delicious. We're going to save the remainder of those bell peppers. I'm going to chop up the celery, and we will get all of this put into either a dish today or the freezer. While I'm waiting for the soup to come to a boil, I'm going to start making our chicken pot pie. So for this, I'm not going to be putting the crust on top. I'm going to be actually adding on some biscuits when I make it for the kids and our family. But all I'm going to do is get the mirepoix started, which is carrots, onions, garlic, and celery. We're going to stew that down in about 2 tablespoons of butter. And then I'm going to be adding in, for this dish, I decided to add in some thyme, but you could literally add thyme and sage. I just just feel like it really brightens up the flavors. So now that this soup has had a little bit of time to come to a boil, I am going to be adding in the heavy whipping cream and the potatoes, and that is almost ready to be put into the food savers and into the freezer. That I want to bring to a boil and then take it off the heat, let it come to room temperature, and then put it in the freezer. While that's all happening, I'm just going to continue with my little food prep process. We've got lots of things that we need to chop up and get into food savers. I did add a link down below for all of the things I use for food prepping. So all of these, I use an 8-ounce, a 12-ounce, and a 32-ounce plastic. These are reusable. I use some reusable baggies and things like that. I will link it all down below for you guys. While that is simmering, we are going to take out our carnitas and get our pulled pork added into the Instant Pot. This smells so insanely good. My mom used to use Coke in here as well, like soda, and I didn't do that this time, but tell us in the comments down below, do you prefer it with, I think she used Pepsi actually, I'm not sure, Coke or Pepsi, probably Coca-Cola, but let us know in the comments down below if you did that as well. Next time I make this, I'm going to try it with that. The pulled pork we're going to do, I'm just going to sear it up on each side. Then we are going to add in some beef broth. I'm going to add in a little apple cider vinegar and then about 2 cups of barbecue sauce. We're going to seal that up and let it cook for about 50 to 60 minutes at a high pressure. This smells so good. I cannot wait to make sandwiches out of this. Okay, so we've got the last thing in here, which is our shredded pork for pulled pork sandwiches. Our corn chowder is pretty much done. I'm just going to season this, just having it simmer for the moment. We have our chicken pot pie is looking great. We're going to cook that down with some chicken in it. We're going to fill these up. The last thing I have to do is process some tomatoes. We're going to use some of this red onion in our taco salad. I'm going to cut these up. We've got quite a few things processed at the moment. It is still pouring rain. Our carnitas are done. Taco meat, everything's nice and cool so I can get it into the refrigerator. And it is still very rainy. Now that our soup has had a little time to chill, I am going to add it into these. These are 32-ounce. These are reusable, which is great. I'm going to add these into these 32-ounce reusable food containers, and I'm going to set those aside. I'm going to chop up some cilantro. I also have some cherry tomatoes I need to chop up, and we're going to get all of this finished up, put in the refrigerator, and ready for the week ahead. To finish off my bean salad, I'm going to add just a little bit of this red onion, which I don't know why they call them red onions because they're purple, but whatever. So this has black beans, it has bell peppers, green onion, cilantro, and some red onions. I'm also going to be adding in that ground beef, but I'll do it when I actually make like the bento box that I take to work. I'm not going to add that in now. I just don't want the meat with the beans. Plus, if somebody else wanted that without the meat, they could have it. Then I'm going to shred up all this chicken. We're going to be adding this, 2 of these into the 32-ounce food savers for other meals. And then I'm also going to be adding some of this into our chicken pot pie, which is smelling delicious. Now, remember, I am not going to put the crust on top and bake this and then freeze it. I am going to bake it as is, and then we're going to add the biscuits on top. The last meal I need to make is going to be our ricotta stuffed shells. We're going to be doing 2 layers of this. Now, I know ricotta is not one of our favorite things, but when it's stuffed into these shells, it just tends to kind of hide it a little bit, so my kids don't mind it as much. So I'm just going to add a little bit of parsley, ricotta cheese and egg, salt and pepper, and some Italian seasonings. Whip that up, stuff it inside. These are cooked shells. We're going to put them seam side down. I did 2 layers with marinara. I'm going to add some mozzarella and then close it off with some more marinara on top. I had some leftover little pearls, these little mozzarella pearls, so I decided to add those to the top. I cannot wait to eat that. It's going to be delicious. Our very last Instant Pot meal is done. This is the carnitas. This is my pulled pork. We are going to keep this in its juices. When I'm ready to freeze this, what I'm going to do is put it into the oven, bring it up to heat. That way it's nice and juicy and moist. I don't want to lose any of that moisture. Here is our chicken pot pie. We are just going to seal that up. When we go to cook that, I will have some biscuits going. We'll put that on top. I just love doing it that way. It's a lot simpler. And here are our shells. I am going to finish up all of these meals. I ended up not making the taquitos. My husband made a good point that taquitos are super good when they're made fried right then and there. So I decided to not make those, but I do have everything needed. So when it's time to make those, all I have to do is defrost the meat, roll it up, and fry it that way. Let's get everything put away, and I'll show you how everything turned out. So here's everything we have for this week. I have some chopped up bell peppers. We have all of our dishes. We have chicken pot pie. We have our carnitas, our pulled pork. We have our pasta. Everything is ready to go. Corn chowder, salads. I've got everything prepped for February that I think I'm going to need. I still have some carrots in the freezer, and that is everything I'm going to need for this week and prepped ingredients for the month. Thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to subscribe for more, please do. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video real soon. Bye.